Hey, yo, welcome back. This is Tai Tai. So I really wanted to get into depth on what is our job as an audio engineer. Tracking, mixing, mastering. What should you be doing and how should you be going about it? Let's go ahead and dive in. So before we get into it, do me a favor, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel, and I try to stay consistent and bring you guys valuable content every week. So if you could do that in return, I greatly appreciate it, and it's free. So let's go ahead and start with mixing. So someone sends you a session and they want it mixed. What should be your first way of going about it? I would highly suggest, depending on the artist, um, really try to stay within the realm of that rough mix. If they already really have a vibe set, if they have reverbs and delays and everything's kind of fine tuned and you're just trying to really enhance it, stay within that realm. Don't start stripping everything down and start fresh. I know with being an engineer, we all want to be creative, we all want to put our sauce on it, but a lot of times it is very important to stick to kind of the route that they've already taken because you can kind of take some of the life away from that. Now, you will get artists that it'll literally just be dry. They'll have a 2-track beat with super dry vocals, and then you can be very creative and really just build upon that. And they'll be extremely happy with it. But really try to know the artist when they're sending you a session. Maybe take a little run through their catalog and listen to their sound, and then you can kind of get a nice basis of what they're going for. That'll definitely help. And like I said, it is dependent upon the artist. But really just kind of try to take the time to dissect and see exactly the route that you should be taking. Same with mastering. If someone's sending you a track and mastered, don't go too crazy with it and start adding all this different coloration. Like, they got their mix, really enhance and just bring out those subtle qualities that they're already trying to put at the forefront. I kind of try to focus on feeling. Like, a lot of times if I'm doing a little boost on the low end, I want to get that little, especially if it's hip hop, I want that little bit of thump that you can hear in your chest, and it does. To me, that adds a lot of emotion. But as far as protecting yourself and kind of setting certain stipulations that you will work with, that you won't work with, for me on studio time and things like that, I require at least 24-hour notice, a 50% deposit, and that deposit is unrefundable. It just kind of separates the people that are serious from those that are not. Because I've definitely, before I put those rules into place, I have definitely had people, oh, I'm going to be through tomorrow, such and such. Okay, cool. I set aside the time, they don't show up. And to me, if I'm wasting time, I'm wasting money. And I could just be working on my own stuff because the way I look at it, I will always be an artist first, but I absolutely love mixing and mastering and tracking other people. But you kind of got to play by the rules a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't get all this stuff by accident. I'm investing in myself, I'm investing in you. And to kind of take that for granted and act like, oh, well, he's just going to be there. Nah, bro, like, I got a life too. I got a family. I got jobs. Like, you got to set those stipulations, and I guarantee you it'll make it a more pleasant adventure for you along the way. And people will start to really understand where you're coming from. Now, every now and then, you will get people that do not, and that's okay. They're going to have to go somewhere else. You know what I mean? But really get into the tracking side of things. I think it is very important to know your artist, to know, is it a time for me to speak up? Is it a time for me to just be quiet and let them do their own thing? I have certain artists that come in and they 100% have that vision of what they want and what they want it to sound like. And they know exactly what they're like. For me, I do a lot of vocals. So a lot of times we'll be doing stuff with 2-track beats, and I'm mainly just focusing on track and vocals. Like I'm saying, these certain artists have that vision in mind. They're seasoned. They've been around long enough. They've been doing this long enough. They don't really need a whole lot of input, and they can just boom, bang it out. And some of them even understand a little bit of mixing and what goes into it. So, if this guy's been recording for a long time and he specifically likes an 1176 on his vocal, whether you like it or not, put that 1176 on there. You want to enhance their vision, you know what I mean? And there is certain artists that have no clue. They have no clue what goes into what it takes for mixing, for mastering, for even really what it takes to set up the gear to track. You gotta do a little coaching here and there, like I see a lot of people, they just want to bury it up on the mic. Yo, let's get it set up. Let's get that fist. Let's keep a few inches back, and we'll really be able to capture the absolute best sound. You don't want to hear somebody messing up and just let them run with it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, if somebody is killing it, you don't want to start hopping in and trying to say things that aren't necessarily needed. Now, with certain artists too, like I look at myself as low key in certain situations, kind of co-producing as it goes, almost co-writing. If someone's getting stuck on a line and I got something in my mind, depending on the artist, I'll speak up like, yo, what about this? Or like if maybe they're having trouble hitting a certain note, I can try to kind of mock it a little bit. And a lot of times, boom, it helps them smooth it out and you just get better results and they end up extremely happy with it in the end. But like I said, you don't want to do that with everybody. If you can tell maybe they got a little bit of an ego and they don't want to hear what you got to say, then shut up. If they want to butcher it and end up with some slop, that's on them. I might not claim my name to it, but I'm going to let them do what they want. But if I can tell that they're open to some advice, they're open to some creative criticisms, I'm going to give it. I'm not going to go overboard, but I'm going to chime in where I'm needed and try to take it to the next level. I love music. I love making music for myself. I love making music for other people. And a lot of it is just really having communication skills. And the way I look at it is like I'm working for them in that moment. And that's exactly what it is. If they're paying for a service, you're working for them. So give them what they want. A lot of times, I've had people get upset with other engineers, and I've had some personal experiences myself. So a good little story is I had this song with a homie in Detroit called Blueprint, and I had everything all laid out on mine. I sent him the 2-track, and he was just going to punch in his verse. Well, the engineer that he had, bro, he had dude's vocals sitting about minimum 5 dB louder than mine. All I wanted to do was turn it down. And I ended up getting in contact with the engineer because he was giving the artist a hard time. And I'm like, hey, man, like, it's not too complicated. Let's just turn his vocals down a little bit. No, bro, this is my sound. This is what I'm doing. And it was like, to him, that was his piece of art. That was his piece of work. And it's like, first off, bro, it's my song. Dude is just a feature on it. And you're trying to take authority of everything. What I can do is cut bro from the whole song and not have to deal with any of it. I didn't want to do that to bro because he's the homie. But if it was any other situation, I didn't really know somebody, you're getting cut. Like, I don't need these headaches. I don't have time for these headaches. And like being an artist and being an engineer, I see both sides of the fence. So it's just like sometimes you kind of have to set yourself to the side a little bit, put the ego to bed and just listen. And like I've had people with me give some creative criticism like, yo, it sounds really good, but maybe kind of calm down on the effects a little bit, really let them vocals shine through. You might get a little bit of that. You might get a little bit more of that raw emotion to shine through and it be a little more impactful. Now, not every bit of advice you should take, but listen. And sometimes even if you take a portion of that advice, it can really do wonders for you. But yo, I hope this helps y'all. I know in this music business, it can be very, very hectic and it's also very, very enjoyable. So it's just finding that balance, finding where you fit in and where you don't, and knowing your place and when not to play your cards. But I'm going to catch y'all next week. Leave me some comments below. Peace.